Hello and welcome to Sincerely Speaking. I am Marcy Amaro, and today is a special treat for me. It is not often that you get to interview one of your coaches, a person that you respect as much as I respect this lady that you're seeing on the screen. And I am just thrilled for this conversation and for everything that she's going to have to share with us. This is Heidi Schalk, and I am so thrilled to introduce you to everybody. Heidi, thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Marcy, thank you for inviting me and having me, and I'm so grateful to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Hi, welcome to Sincerely Speaking. I'm Marcy Amaro, your self-leadership coach. Now, what that means is I'm here to help you rediscover your calling, tap into your greatest potential and strengths, and eliminate those things that keep getting in your way and in the way of your success. So whatever success looks like to you, whether it is in your career, in your business, in your relationships, or in your life in general, I'm here to help you get out of your own way, remove the obstacles, and elevate all of your life to the next level. If you're ready to see everything that you're capable of and see what your life can look like, I invite you to head on over to marcyamaro.com and set up a 30-minute clarity and confidence call where we will talk about your mission, your vision, your goals, the things that you're here on this planet to create, what might be getting in the way up until now, and some actionable, amazing ways to get out of your own way to eliminate all those obstacles and reach the level of success that you've been dreaming of. Are you ready? Are you ready for the next level? Then stick around to this conversation of Sincerely Speaking and then head on over to marcyamaro.com and schedule your 30-minute call. Can't wait to meet you in person. Chat soon. This woman is a wealth of information and knowledge when it comes to business building, but I am not going to share what she gets to share. So Heidi, start us off by talking a little bit about specifically what you do and how you got into what you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I'm happy to share. So I am a business strategy coach, and I started coaching in the online space and became an entrepreneur when I was moving through a divorce. And I did not start as a business strategy coach. I knew zero about business, Marcy. So it was new to me. But I was flailing. I was nervous. I was scared. I was entering a new space in my life. And I had originally been before this, been a stay-at-home mom. And I didn't know what I was going to do now to take care of myself, and my children. I have two children and they were small at the time. This is over, we separated about 7.5 years ago, divorced 5.5 years ago. So they were little and they're now 13. My son will be 13 next month and my daughter is 14. So just the process was very scary. I had a home I wanted to keep and maintain for their security and to make sure they can stay in the school system, because we are in a very good school area where I live. And so that was my big goal. And I was looking for something, but I also, my main reason is for one of the things that drove me into what I got to do next was my children and being home with them. Because since I had been a stay-at-home mom, I was heavily involved in the school. I was heavily involved in their activities, and I didn't want that to change. I didn't want anything for them to change. So as much as I could keep that from happening. So I found a coaching online and I was like, oh, this will be easy. I can do this. Meanwhile, while I was building that business, and I'll get to share with you how that was not the case. What I thought it was, how easy it was going to be, was not the case. But I worked two jobs while I was building my business. I still needed to bring in income while I was building. It doesn't happen overnight. Unfortunately, we see all the people that look online that looks like they just made it big overnight. That's not the case. I'm here to share with you that doesn't happen. However, so I worked two jobs in the process, but I gave me the flexibility to work at night. So that's basically, short story long, how I got started. But I did start in the fitness space because before getting married, I was a personal trainer. I worked in health and wellness. So I thought, hey, I could go into this very, very easily. Well, I had been out of it so long, Marcy, that the space had changed. Before it was you could exercise, get a workout plan, get a nutrition plan, and be off to the races, right? And have an accountability with a personal trainer if you wanted that. Now it was very niched down. It had changed in such a big way. There's now gut health and keto and plant-based and all the things. And it just wasn't my passion anymore. So I moved into transformational coaching and goal setting because that's what I was moving through. And as long as I could be a few steps ahead of my clients, I was able to help women move through that. And as they were creating and achieving their goals, they saw me building my business. So they wanted to start creating businesses. and wanted to stay with me. So that's how I pivoted into business strategy. And it really taught me a big lesson that we grow as we're growing and evolving. And as our clients are growing and evolving, so can our business. And what we start with in one space of our life doesn't mean it's going to look the same in 6 months, a year from now, or even 5 years from now.
Absolutely. Let's stay there for a minute because, I mean, you just shared so much in such a short period of time, right? But what I encounter from a lot of people that I talk with is they either want to be 100% certain what they're going to get into, be sure that it's their passion, that it's within their purpose, that they have all these pieces in place, or because sometimes it's a combination of both, they want to stay in the same realm that they were in before they became entrepreneurs and just kind of like pull that into the entrepreneurial space. But that's not always the case, right? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely not. And I find that with my clients too. They want to be so sure, like they want to get everything perfect, and perfection will keep you stuck. Yes. Perfection is paralyzing. Yes. So wanting to have everything perfect is not going to get you moving forward. So what I was taught by a mentor when I first started, my biggest takeaway and I worked with many mentors, I've invested tons of money into coaching, which has supported me, but it's also helped me learn what works for me and what doesn't, because not everything works for everybody. You take what works and move forward, and take what doesn't and put it shit to the side, right? So I just share with my clients, do what you know. Start with what you know and what lights you up, because that's where, if you have passion for it, you're going to stay motivated to keep going, because business is not always lollipops and rainbows and unicorns. It's not always birthday cake and in the happy days. There's going to be tough times. So really connecting to the why that's going to drive you, the why that makes you cry. As I shared, mine was staying home with my kids. I wanted to be able to be here with them, to take them to their activities and have that flexibility. And that was my why that kept me going on the hard days. So really just tapping into what lights you up. What do you already know, so you don't have to learn something new? As long as you're a couple steps ahead of the people you're working with, everything will fall into place and evolve and grow. And that was the biggest thing for me. And that's what I share with my clients. It doesn't have to be perfect, and just understand your business will evolve as you are evolving.
That is so key. Understanding that nothing is static, right? Nothing is cemented and carved in stone. We can always shift and pivot certain things. But I want to talk a little bit about something that you mentioned before I forget it. You said start with what you know and what you're passionate about. Now, my experience was, and I know it's been the experience of a lot of people I've worked with, that because I'm starting from something that is passionate for me, that also means that I have to eventually land in the right set of eyes and in the right set of ears, right? It's not going to automatically draw everybody in. So let's talk a little bit about the pacing of building a business, because like you said at the beginning, a lot of people think, okay, I'm going to start as a coach today and tomorrow I'm going to be a millionaire. And that's really not the way it works. No. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. And I want to touch on what we just talked about too, and just share that action brings clarity. So you don't have to know all the pieces and all the steps to take going forward. Just taking action, that's going to open up opportunities and bring clarity on where you want to continue going and growing. As far as what you just asked, Marcy, many times we are our own ideal client. So it's really important to get clear on who your ideal client is. And by taking action, that's what's going to bring clarity. And a great way of finding that out is doing what we call market research. And it's very simple to do that. All you need to do is ask people to support you and share, I'm building a business. I want to start a business. I'm building a business. And look for people. If you are the person that moved through the transformation, if you went through this transformation yourself, then look for people that are similar to you. It could be family members. It could be friends in your space. And you're not asking them to be clients necessarily, because that might be weird and uncomfortable for many of us, as we're starting out. But you can ask them to answer questions to get more details about what's going on inside of your ideal client's brain. Because when the biggest thing you're going to move forward faster if you can speak into the language that your ideal client is using on themselves. For example, tapping into the pain point. What is the true problem that they have? Because if we can help people in some aspect, right? For me, I wanted to build a business and now I'm helping people build business. My why was that I wanted to be home with my kids. That doesn't, and I can talk about that all day long, but that doesn't mean that all my ideal clients have that why. So tapping into what is the pain point that they have and what's the verbiage they're using in their head that's keeping them up at night. And then what's the transformation that they're looking for? What's the end result? Is it they want to make money so they can travel? Is it that they want to put their children through, private school? Is it that they want to buy insurance for their kids, or they want to create a nest egg and send their kids to college? Whatever that looks like for them, it's important that I know it. Because I can guess all day long, but if I'm not talking into the verbiage they're using in their head, it's not going to land, as you said, because it's really important that we're landing with our ideal client. So that's one of the quickest and easiest ways. And people are so happy to help. So just by asking, can you support me? I want to build a business and I'm looking for people that I can just ask 5 or 10 questions for, and you can give them something in return. You can give them a free call with you, right? Free time with you to help them move through the next step of whatever that transformation is that they're looking for.
Absolutely. Now I find, and this is confession time, this was what was holding me up at the beginning, was the fear of going out there and telling people I'm building a business or asking questions about what I wanted to do, because my underlying fear was, well, if it doesn't work out, I'm going to look ridiculous, right? They're going to think that I'm a quack or that just I can't be trusted in whatever way. But that really isn't the way it works. And it's so funny to see, like you said, people are willing to help and we hold ourselves back because we're like, oh, what will they think? But that's the worst space to start from, isn't it?
Yes. And I shared the same fear as you, Marcy. I held myself back for a very long time. One, for being scared of being seen and heard. And 2, for being afraid of what other people were going to think of me. I was very heavily involved in my children's school. And now I went from a stay-at-home mom to building a business. And I thought, what are they going to think about me? They're going to be like, who is she? And what does she think? Who does she think she is that she can do this? Right. And so that fear really kept me playing small, and it kept me hiding because I was scared of what other people would think versus really focusing on get my goals and my dreams and for me and my kids. And it's a true fear that holds many of us back, but I'm going to share with you. And it took me too long to learn this. And I hope if you're wanting to start a business, you hear me and this lands for you. They're not thinking about you.
Not even
they are not thinking about you. They've got their own fears and their own lives and their own things they're going through. We're so worried about what other people are thinking. And 99% of the time, 99% of those people out there aren't thinking anything about you. And once I actually stepped out of the shadows and into the light and started speaking and showing up more visibly, people that I thought were going to think, what is she doing? Who is she? Came out to me and were like, wow, it's incredible what you're doing. I'm so inspired. And that was a very big eye opener for me. But unfortunately, it took me a long time to learn that. And it's all because I allowed that to get in my head and hold me back. So if you're listening, please don't let that happen to you. Find someone like Marcy, find a mentor out there, find someone who's going to lift you up and raise you up and push you forward and move you through those fears. That's another thing I would say is really important when you're moving through fear, is finding a community. Many times it's not our family, especially if we're moving into entrepreneurial space and building a business in that arena. Many of our family don't understand it. Many of our friends don't understand it. And their biggest, it's one thing I learned too, is that, and this happened with me, with my family, is that they want to protect us, right? They don't want us to get hurt. They don't want us to fail. They don't want us to have to skin our knees. And so they want to talk us out of it, right? Go the easy route, go just 9 to 5, build a nest egg, that type of thing. And unfortunately, we're not built like that. Entrepreneurs are not built like that. So find people that are going to surround you and they're going to lift you up and are working towards similar goals. And that's one thing I had to learn too. Many of the times it's not our family and our friends, it's people outside the space. Yes. But believe me, they'll come back around. I promise you.
They will. They definitely will. But it's really funny because it's almost like ironic in a sense. We spend so much time worrying about what people think, and it isn't until we realize that it's not about us and we make it all about them that we move forward. And it's almost ironic, like I said, because it goes from worrying about what they will think to focusing on how we can serve them, right? And once we make that shift, and it's never about us, it really never is. And once we make that shift, then things start falling into place in almost a magical way, I find. And it's not that it's instantaneous and it's not that it's suddenly easy, but things just start falling into place. Haven't you found that too?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I say action brings clarity, because as you're taking action, things are going to open up for you. Doors are going to open up for you. People are going to show up that want to help and support you. And sometimes it comes from the people that you would least likely expect it to be from.
Absolutely. Now, I would love to circle back around to your beginning, your story. Your why, like you've mentioned several times, is staying home with your kids and being able to be there for them and support them and all these things. So ultimately, what we're talking about is you wanted to maintain a certain lifestyle, right? And you built your business around that lifestyle. And I find that for a lot of people, it's kind of like a chicken and the egg kind of question also. What comes first? Do I focus on the business that I want and wrap my lifestyle around it? Or do I focus on my lifestyle and build the business around it? For someone who's struggling with that question, what would be your advice? What would you say?
It was the same struggle I had. And I will tell you that I was working all the time around the clock. And that's one of the things looking back there. I even did a live stream on the 7 things I would do over if I was starting over. And one of them was fitting my business into my life and not my life into my business, because that's what I did. I was working around the clock. I was running the hamster wheel. I was exhausted every day. I was rinsing and repeating. And that actually kept me building slower. Now it's really important. And I have boundaries. Setting boundaries in your business from the beginning is super important. Stepping into your leadership, showing up as a leader for yourself and inside of your business is really, really important. And Marcy, you are phenomenal about teaching people how to show up as a leader and training people, talking into leadership. So I won't talk into that because that is your wheelhouse. But really learning that early on is really, really key, because setting up boundaries. And I just did this with my coaching clients yesterday. I did a whole training on boundaries, because we every Thursday we have a group call where I actually do laser coaching and we all come together, and then I do a training once a week for them. And I realized last week on the coaching call that they needed boundary training, because a lot of them were having similar issues. If I would have implemented that sooner than later, it would have springboarded my business sooner. And what I mean by that is really scheduling yourself, putting yourself as a priority, especially as a woman, as a mompreneur, as a female entrepreneur. We're juggling a lot of different hats. We're constantly switching our hats throughout the day. And really, I live by my calendar. And I tell my team, if you want something done, put it on my calendar, or it needs to get done as soon as you tell me. Like if you're on the phone with me and you need something, or we're in a meeting and you need something, I need to do it right now. Because if you lead me to it 5 minutes later, it's probably not going to happen. I know me. So I live by my calendar. I even schedule my pickups for my children. I schedule them because my alarm goes off, because I could be deep in work and my alarm goes off, and I know I've got a few minutes to wind everything down and go pick them up. And then I can start that portion of my day. But even self-care, taking a walk in the morning, doing your journaling, whether it's just, taking a few minutes a day, that's really, really important when it comes to building your business. So fitting your business into your life versus your life into your business is absolutely something I would completely wish I would have done from the beginning, because I would be so much further along.
Absolutely. And you know what's really funny? I hear a lot of people talking about alignment and making your business aligned with your life. And I believe it starts with what you were just talking about, is understanding what is truly important in your life. What are your values, and making sure that your values are not upset or pushed aside by trying to build your business. Because what I found, and I'll share a little bit of my experience, not to take too much of your time, but when I first started business, I was spinning my wheels and I couldn't figure out why, until I sat down and I realized, like what you said, I was spending so much time focused on my business that a part of me felt like I was neglecting my family, and family is one of my top values, right? So until I realized that my business was competing with my values, and I needed to figure out how they could cooperate with each other and support each other as opposed to battling each other, I wasn't able to move forward. And I was doing all the right things. I was doing everything I was supposed to do, but I wasn't seeing forward movement because of that inner resistance and that inner battle between what I wanted and what I was working towards and the values that I held to high standards, right? So it's important to understand that that gets to be in coherence, that gets to work with each other.
Absolutely. And knowing your core values is key. And one of the first things you should be doing when you're outlining your business, because even when you start building and scaling and bringing in a team, you want to make sure that your team understands your values of your business and what surrounds you and your business, because you want to be bringing in people who have the same core values. Absolutely. And that was exactly what I did too. Like one of my core values is family and my children, and they were being pushed aside, because not pushed aside, like I was still there, but they were getting the exhausted version of me, because by the time I was picking them up, I had worked so much that I was just, exhausted, overwhelmed, burnt out, and I was rinsing and repeating that every day. And that is another key point I want to talk into as far as bringing in clients. Make sure that when you're bringing in clients, that you're vetting them as they're vetting you. You want to align yourself with clients who have the same similar core values of you. When you're collaborating with other entrepreneurs, like Marcy and I are doing right now, it's really important that we are both family oriented. Like our family is a top core value and priority for us. You want to align yourself in working with and collaborating with other entrepreneurs who are aligned with the same core values. If one of them is integrity, which is key for me in business, if you're working with aligning yourself with other entrepreneurs who aren't in integrity, and you know that, it's going to be a real battle and slow you down in business. So I think that's a key point in all aspects, whether it's your clients, whether it's a team you're building, and whether it's people that other entrepreneurs that you're collaborating with and networking with.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Now, time ticks so fast when you're talking to someone awesome like you, but I want us to take a few minutes to talk about one of the things that I believe is the hardest for new entrepreneurs, and that's the marketing piece. And you hinted at the visibility and putting yourself out there. For someone who's starting out and they're still unsure and they're still afraid of all these things and they're just trying to take imperfect action, what would you say is I don't want to say the easiest, but the most accessible first step to entering that marketing piece so that their businesses can grow?
Oh, I want to try and make this laser, but there's so much. But the first thing I can think of is really laying out your pillars. And what I mean is, people can get so confused and they get overwhelmed with creating content. They're constantly trying to create new content. They're trying to reinvent the wheel every single time they're putting out content. And really, if you can get clear on, when you're starting out, 2 to 3 to maybe 4 pillars max of what you talk into. For me, for example, I help people build their business. So mindset is a big piece of a pillar that I talk into. Marketing is another piece. Enrollment and sales is another piece. And collaboration, connection, and community and networking, that's another piece. And I have a system called the money system, is what I do inside of my program. And I break it down into marketing, your irresistible offer. The N is for networking and building community and collaboration. The E is for enrollment, and the Y stands for you, which is showing up authentically. And that's another piece that I think many entrepreneurs, when they're starting out, they're looking at the other people in their space, their competition, which I don't believe anybody's competition. We're all here in it together to serve. But they're looking at, oh, I have to show up like they are. They're successful, so I have to look like them or be like them or talk like them. When honestly, that's the exact opposite. That's true. Showing up authentically is key. So really laying out what those pillars are for you and just breaking those down into sub pillars. And it doesn't take long. It could take maybe, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes to really lay that out. And then that's what you talk into. That's what you build your content around. And you can talk into the same things. It's another thing I find we're always like, well, I've said that 150 times. But saying that 150 times, that 151st time, that somebody out there is hearing it for the first time, even if they've heard you 150 times. They're in the right space now. They're in the right mind space now. They're in their life is like in the right space now for them to finally hear it. the way they needed to hear it. So we're always having new people come into our audience. So it's really important to really stay focused on those 2 to 4 pillars of what you talk into, because one of the things I find I struggled with is really staying in my niche. I felt like I wanted to serve and help everybody with everything in business. And we don't have to, because when we're trying to help everyone with everything, we help nobody with anything.
Absolutely. And I think it's so key what you just said, because we forget that repetition is the mother of skill, right? Unless something is repeated over and over and over again, we don't really get to the space where we own it, where we truly understand it, and it's really integrated into our schemes and our paradigms and the things that we believe and we think. So we are, like you said, especially at the beginning, I know I was guilty of this, and still sometimes I fall prey to this, right? Of the, oh, I've done that 1,000 times, I can't do it again thing. But no, if it's part of your core, if it's part of what you teach, if it's essential to what you do, it's important for you to repeat it, not just because, like you said, it's going to be new to somebody. And even if they've heard it 1,000 times, it might not have sunk in yet, but also because you are pre-framing people for everything else that you have to offer. And that's where that's the point that I had to get to, right? Was unless people understand this, when they come to work with me, I have to work twice as hard because I have to teach them all these other things. But if I've repeated it and they come into my world already knowing these things, when they come work directly with me, that work is already done. I've already pre-framed them to work with me.
Absolutely. And one more thing is consistency. Consistency is key. But that being said, consistency looks different for each person.
Yes.
If work your business around your life, if you're working a job and you're building a business, then you're not available to go live every day. And that's okay. You can go just whatever you commit to doing, whether it's once a week, if you commit to showing up or putting content out or going live or emailing your list once a week, then just follow through with that. Because confidence comes with consistently keeping the commitments we make to ourselves. And that comes with just making the commitment that you can hold to yourself, and you showing up as you, and what you fits into your lifestyle. So people are like, oh, this person's putting out 50 pieces of content a day. Like Gary Vee, I love him, but I can't be him. He puts out 200 and something pieces of content a day. There is no way
but he has a team of how many people?
Exactly. But still, it's a lot of content, and it's awesome. And that works for him, but it doesn't work for me. I put out 1 to 2 pieces of content a day, and I push it out across all the platforms. I'm working towards getting more, but at the end of the day, that's what works for me. And so just do the content, just commit to what works for you in your lifestyle. That's another thing, but being consistent to what that looks like for you is also key.
Absolutely. Like, for instance, I do my lives before 9 a.m. All my lives go out before 9 a.m. I have very few people join me live, but I have a lot of people that watch later. But that's what fits into my lifestyle. I do my lives while my kids are getting ready. And then when it's time to drop my daughter off at middle school, I'm not doing lives after that. I'm doing other things, right? So I've fit that into there. So that is key. Before we wrap up, Heidi, because our time is almost up, this has been so amazingly awesome.
Gone by so fast.
Right? It just flies by. For the people listening who are saying, okay, I'm ready, I'm going to start. Besides market research, which you already talked on, what would be one thing that you think they should focus on in order to make the most of their efforts and their time starting out as entrepreneurs?
I would say finding a mentor is really key, because many of us, especially women, we like to lone wolf it. I'm guilty of it. I did it. And even when I found a mentor, I still lone wolfed it for many times. But really finding a mentor that will hold you accountable, that's super, super important. I bought course after course after course, thinking I can piecemeal it all together and do it on my own. And that didn't work. I spent way too much money on things that I never actually implemented. I never even opened some of them either. So really working with someone that resonates with you, has similar core values as you. We're going to go back to that. That's really, really key. But that's going to get you moving the needle forward faster. Investing in yourself is one of the best things that you can take. And I know for some of us, it sounds counterintuitive. I got to put money out in order to do it. But finding somebody you trust is also key in that decision. So investing wisely in someone that understands your goals and you have confidence in, that can get you to reach those goals. That would be one of the things. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing, that because I lone wolfed it for a long time and it kept me stuck because I just didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, me too. I think, yeah, like you said, women tend to be really bad at reaching out and asking for help for whatever reason, but it's important. So, Heidi, people who want to learn more about you, who want to connect with you, where can they find you? Do you have anything coming up that you would like to invite people to? I know they need to listen to your podcast, that's for sure. But go ahead, invite them.
Thank you. Yes, I'm on all the platforms. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I have a Facebook profile. I also have a Facebook business page. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Threads. I'm on TikTok. I'm starting Pinterest, but don't go there. And where else am I? I have my website, HeidiSchalk.com. It's my name. I have a podcast. It's called Be S.H.E, and it stands for Be Seen, Be Heard, Be Empowered. I really was stuck on, that was one of my biggest challenges, was being seen and heard. And it took me a lot to overcome it. And that was really what got my business moving forward faster, when I actually stepped into that and I moved past that fear. So now that podcast is geared toward female entrepreneurs, helping them be seen and be heard and get visible so they can grow their business faster. And I do have a challenge coming up. I also have a Facebook group, Female Entrepreneurs and Leaders. You can join us there. And I have a challenge coming up. It's called the Money Mastery Challenge. Woo! And it gives you the 5 steps to creating revenue inside of your business in a quick, easy way. So, because when we're not creating revenue in our business, guess what we have, Marcy? It's called a hobby.
We have a hobby.
We have a hobby. So we want
An
a business.
expensive hobby.
Expensive hobby, exactly. So I created a Money Mastery Challenge, a boot camp, so we can help female entrepreneurs actually create revenue and increase their revenue in their business quicker.
Awesome. How can we register for that challenge? And I say
I will send you the link. Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Is it possible to send you the link? That'd be great.
Absolutely. So the link will be in the show notes.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram. It's in there. It's in my link tree. It's also it'll be in the show notes of my podcast, and also it's on my profile and business page as well.
Awesome. So we will make sure to add it to the show notes so that everybody can go register, and let's make a lot of money.
It starts October 16th. So we'll see.
Awesome. Awesome. So Heidi, I knew it was going to be awesome and that it was going to fly by, and so it did. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. It was amazing.
Thank you, Marcy. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that we're connected and I have you in my life, and I'm so excited for all you're doing. And thank you for showing up and being seen and visible and heard, and helping people the way you do as well in leadership.
Oh, thank you. Same to you. And for you, thank you for joining us in this conversation of Sincerely Speaking. We will see you next week. Thanks. I hope you have found as much value and impact in this conversation as we found in creating it for you. If you have, then go ahead and share this with someone else in your life that you know might find it valuable. And in the meantime, don't forget about my offer to head on over to marciamaro.com and schedule your free 30-minute clarity and confidence call. We will talk through all your dreams, all your plans, all your goals, the things that might be getting in the way. And if it makes sense for both of us, I might invite you to join me in one of my programs or one of my coaching packages, but there's no obligation, and I promise you that this will be the best 30 minutes you've spent in a long, long time. So again, head on over to marciamaro.com, set up that time to chat, and I will see you on the other side. And in the meantime, share, subscribe, like, and I will see you next week here on Sincerely Speaking. Thank you.